Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast. For the recap of Stage 6 of the Vuelta a España, we have a medium mountain stage with a gravel climb, proper rampas inhumanas, a cuesta de cabra, gravel roads that are called a paved road but are not really gravel. And I'm basically in it. By the way, if you forgive my demeanor, I'm in an airport car park in Schiphol. And I'm doing my best.
Patrick's in a terminal, and that's why his connection, I think, perished for a second. I couldn't hear you for a second, but we're good. We're good. Anyway,
you can still hear me?
Today's stage, I can hear you, Patrick. I can hear you.
Okay.
Stage 6 started in Alcocebre to Castello, and it's a 177-kilometer stage with basically 4 medium mountains, and 2 of those are in the, I would say, longer form of break formation, the first 70 kilometers. The first one's 40k 4%, and 5 kilometers 6.6%. But Patrick and I, we both know that the last 2 climbs are the vital part of today's stage. And second last one, bit of an attrition climb before the last one. The last climb is the one where I think, Patrick, you pointed was it a baseball reference you did yesterday with El Bartolo?
El Bartolo or Bartolo Colon. Basically, he was a pitcher. He was like a generational pitcher. He was really unathletic, but really, really good. When he hit a home run, it was crazy. Anyway, really steep climb. I didn't know if Pog was going to go for it because he'd won the stage in Andorra. He's got 3 minutes, and can the team control it? And then this episode is brought to you by Join Cycling. When you're on the run like me, when you maybe got to do limited time because you got to get through the traffic in south of Amsterdam, you got limited time to train. Join Cycling is your key partner for that. The break formation seemed to go on for a long time. Like, it just kept cannibalizing itself. And this is what we always discuss. UAE are flexible. UAE have if a break of 30 goes straight away and they can't control it, or they're going to have to kill the team to control it for the whole stage, they might let it go. Yep. If the break goes and it's taken 2 hours, they have the whole team there, there's a guy in GC in the breakaway they don't really want to give the red jersey away to, they might just pull and let Pog win a stage. Why not? He wants to probably win 10 stages here. Maybe he wants to win green here. So, yeah, that didn't surprise me. And in the end, we had a break with Van Aert for the green jersey points. Ramses de Bruyne, the best placed in GC, on about 4.5 minutes. He was so good in the Andorran stage and for the rest of the year, actually. Carlos Canal, Buitrago, who's actually the best Buitrago we ever see, is on Valencian walls every year. And this is where we are. And who else was the best in the break? That was those two, Buitrago, De Bruyne.
Next to those riders, we had Berardi, Krups, Diaz, Wilch, Albanese, Garofoli, Conrad, and Bilbao was teammate for Buitrago, of course. Glog was there as well, if I recall correctly, and Carlos Canal. So 14 riders in total. This is a strong breakaway, but like you said, it's taken, 100 kilometers for this to form? Maybe 80, 90 kilometers, to the point that we're getting so close to the second last climb that I'm starting to think, okay, it is enough distance from the finish to warrant UAE thinking this might be controllable now. And you said it perfectly. They started thinking the same way, because by the time the broadcast started, UAE was controlling this breakaway that formed, and the gap went up to maybe 3 minutes at certain points in the stage, being kept at mostly 2 minutes throughout. And like you said, Wout van Aert took the green jersey points at the intermediate sprint. I don't think I can judge Brennan for not necessarily making this breakaway. I assume that he tried to get in the breakaway earlier in the stage, but it's hard to be sure about it completely for the sakes of we had no broadcast, so we can't judge what happened in break formation too much. We just know that it took long. Wout was in it eventually and took the green jersey points, and that makes it so that he's above Laporte again. But well, we'll see after the stage what the points are there then. But we are getting now to the second last climb, Alto del Deserto, Las Palmas, and we see some activities in the breakaway, because Patrick, this breakaway also knows that if they have, let's say, 2 minutes 20 at the start of the second last climb, and they need to spice some things up, then Bilbao starts spacing for Buitrago, then Buitrago throws a haymaker. They want more than 2 minutes 20 over the top of the second last climb, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that long a climb. It depends how well you're climbing, but to be honest, like, how often do UAE control and Pog doesn't win? I guess it only happened on, what, Ventoux? And that was a break of 30 that went like all the tug buddies on the flat. A gap of it was once they had it at 130, I was like, Pog is just going to win. So, I mean, De Bruyne it's still worth investing for him because when you're so good, if you can forget Pog exists, which is always, that makes things more simple. He's starting a 20-minute climb or 25-minute climb with a 1 minute 30 advantage, and you can pace yourself better. You're not subject to UAE's accelerations, the way they're going to pace it with Vine and Torres. And then you can, especially if you're not fighting for podium either, he's not that much worse than the guys, well, not, maybe he's going for 7th or 8th. So I think it's a great investment for De Bruyne. He was even better over the top than 7th or 8th. And I've rewatched it when I landed. I watched what happened. Pogačar attacks after UAE given the lead out. On the steep gravel section, he looks clear, 30 seconds, regulation. And I was like, why is my phone blowing up? Why have I got so many text messages? Pog Cole. When I landed and turned off airplane mode, which by the way, I still put on airplane mode on my phone. I'm messing around. And then I kept watching. Oscar Only followed him. Oscar Only went too close to the sun and paid for it big time. We'll speak about that in a second. Enric Mas, the haters, all of you haters, Enric looks $1 million. Give him, remember I did my spiel. I've got to find it. Give him 50-degree heat, a goat track that's 15%. Who's better than him? Nobody. Pog wasn't.
Well, to be fair,
he crossed the top of Pog today.
That is fair. But when Pog went, I thought, okay, race is over. I think Tadej Pogačar's riding off to the victory. Same thing we saw 2 days ago. Kind of as if it goes to the peloton, that's a scenario we expect. Strong lead up by Pablo Torres in the lead up towards it after Vine did the work. At the moment that Pogačar attacks, there's still breakaway riders ahead. So he's still passing riders. Ramses de Bruyne was the strongest rider of that breakaway, is the last one to get caught and dropped by Tadej Pogačar. But you said it. We saw the activities behind Pogačar being a bit odd because first the attention was on Gal because he was positioned in Narnia at the start of the climb. I thought, okay, off day, he's gone. But that was not really the case. He ended up crawling back rider by rider and getting back to the wheel of first of all the likes of Roglic and so forth. So Gal passed the likes of Only, who basically only capitulated after he tried to follow Tadej Pogačar and lost quite a bit of time today. That's what happened sadly for Oscar Only, and we saw Roglic being perhaps the stronger of the non-Musk contenders together with Gal, who passed everybody to get back to Roglic. But you said it. Suddenly, out of relative nowhere, we see a shot from behind Pogačar where Enric Mas is coming. And Enric Mas is getting closer and closer to Tadej Pogačar. And Enric Mas is catching Tadej Pogačar, Patrick. And you said it perfectly. Yes, the temperatures, etc., it all helps him. We're not even in the south yet, but normally this doesn't happen to Pogačar.
It's still really, really hot. Like, I was sweating on the drive down. It was really, really hot still. And down in Valencia, it's even hotter. And as they go south, it's going to be even hotter. So, yeah, I think bidons, bottle placement, UAE were really on point with that in the Tour de France. But is it more difficult in the Vuelta? But yeah, Enric catches him. I think it proves a good point, which is that the way to get a podium is to pretend Pogačar doesn't exist. The way to also beat Pogačar, I think, is to pretend he doesn't exist on specific climbs, not beat him. I mean, Enric didn't beat him. He just, apparently Pogačar said he didn't know Enric was closing him from the car. But the only way you're going to catch him is if you do your pace. Because if you do what Only did, if you get into the 3-minute game, the 2-minute game with Pog, he might blow up. And it looks like he maybe stalled a little bit, but you're going to blow up bigger. And that's what happened with Only. He went back not to Group 2 with the other podium guys, back to Kuss and Christian Rodriguez and co. And the only way is to do the Pellizzari, Del Toro, and Enrique pacing gimmick. And it seemed to work for Enric. I mean, there's also the fact that, yeah, maybe Pog didn't know there was someone coming. So he's like, well, I have a 30-second gap. Why am I going to push it to 50? Like, because that's the same thing on Tourmalet. Did he blow up or did it get to 30 seconds and he starts chilling, thinking of the descent and then the 18K after? Why push it to 45 seconds on Tourmalet? So do you think Pog had a bit of coal and overextended, or do you think he actually got bad info and then didn't realize Enric was closing?
I'm in two phases. As in, my first phase was from it happening on the screen until the Pogačar interview, where I was like, oh my god, massive plot twist. Enric Mas managed to close down Mr. Tadej Pogačar for the first time since, well, technically Remco and with Skelmos in the wheel did it in Amstel Gold Race last year, but then before that, Jonas in Lorient in 2024. And ironically, Mas and Sivakov being the ones in 2023, if I recall. And Wout? Sorry? I couldn't hear a word of what you said there. Patrick Brobot.
Lipovitz Romandy.
Well, yes. Lipovitz Romandy, but technically correct. If we talk semantics.
70 kilo Pog.
But technically correct. That said, I find Pogačar's explanation in the interview perfectly reasonable. It is logical that if he thinks it's 40 seconds, that he's not going to push. And if he gets caught by a rider when his DS told him that the gap is 40 seconds, then it's not surprising that he looks surprised when a rider passes him over the top. That said, over the top into the descent, he looked a bit flustered by the fact that he was caught, because he ends up going off course maybe 3 corners later after Enric Mas tells him, be careful for this descent. Pogačar goes to the front, starts pushing it. Enric Mas is like, ah, shit. And in front of him, he sees Pogačar going into a ditch. Doesn't actually crash, just rides off course and returns back on the road. And Mas is not the best descender in the world, so Pogačar was always coming back after that. And they basically yodel to the finish line together. And that's when we see is it like a potential revenge story after Lombardia? What is it, 2023, 2024? Could Mas have outsprinted Tadej Pogačar, Patrick?
I mean, the Vuelta organizers got to be kicking themselves that they didn't finish on top. Enric, why does Enric Mas keep having the best days of his life on descent finishes? Granada? What year was it? We couldn't figure out. Hazayanas even? Poor bastard had it, and there was a crash. I think he nearly crashed. That was an incredible save. And then today, descent finish, he has the best day of his life. And even Lombardia is a descent finish, really. It doesn't finish on an uphill, so feel sorry for Enric. But incredible scenes. It goes to show, like, despite the Pog dominance, that you just got to keep trying. And one day the racing can be exciting here or there. And I was thinking about it on the plane as well, because I obviously just raw dog it. I just no headphones, just stare at the seat in front of me. I was like, it does make it, when this sort of stuff does happen to Pog, even bigger. Even when, of course, okay, spoilers, Pog wins the sprint, Enric is powerless, like against Narvaez. What's he supposed to do? He also has to ride for GC podium, I understand it. There's nothing else Enric can do. Still a fantastic result for Movistar. They'll be, after Kian's abandoned, they'll be very, very happy with this result, and as they should be. But still quite exciting. And if you want to become like Enric Mas, heat adapted, doing these Vuelta stages, you got to join cycling's Vuelta España training program. There's 3 to 4 workouts a week that you can do. It matches your availability, your fitness level, the intensity you can do. It's catered to you by the app, and you can just follow along the stages they're doing in the Vuelta, which is really nice. You can do it on the trainer if you're in Australia in a cold climate. Well, maybe not too cold, but winter in Australia at least. You can do it on the trainer watching the race, maybe in the morning when you're watching the replay of the stage. And so go and check out the Vuelta or Join. Really, really cool initiative. It runs for 3 weeks, and you can go through the link down below. Get a month free as well, no strings attached. So just try the Vuelta or Join literally for free. You've got nothing to lose, and it gets your fitness back up to speed, either in winter in Oz or down south in New Zealand. South Africa, I guess. Do you have a winter, really? Some parts of South Africa are cold. And then in, I guess, North America, the Canadians, it's always cold, and in Scandinavia. But you can do it outside as well. That's the thing people don't realize. Join workouts workouts, you can also have the automatic syncing to your head units, and then you can just do the workout outside, which is really nice. Yes, Benjamin.
I don't know if the last 3 sentences of that sponsorship ad were better or worse, because it was like a hilariously helium-induced robot voice. But the point came across. Join cycling if you want to get ready. There's a Vuelta thing on. Anyway, when it comes to the sprint, Pogačar wins, beats Enric Mas in the sprint. Enric doesn't have too much to deliver there, sadly. But behind that, we've got Ramses de Bruyne, who survives from the early breakaway, getting 3rd place on today's stage ahead of Carapaz, Tejada, Felix Gall, and Roglic. So that group came together. That is on 46 seconds of Pogačar and Mas. Then behind that, on 8th place, Cristian Rodriguez. So a second Astana rider in the top 10 here, together with Clément Berthet for Groupama. Also a pretty solid surprise. With Skjelmose, Sepp Kuss and Oscar Onley. And that's basically the top 12. Those riders are on 1:38. The next group is on 3 minutes 46, Patrick. That is a pretty massive gap. And for GC, that actually has quite a bit of consequences, because I'm looking at the ranking and Enric Mas is now in 2nd place. Behind Tadej Pogačar on 3:34. Roglic falls to 3rd place on 4 minutes 21. So 50 roughly seconds now for Mas and Roglic. Then Carapaz on 4:50. Then 4:55 to Felix Gall. Kuss on 5:36. Only on 5:37. Ramses de Bruyne into the top 10, into 8th place on 5:40. So that's nice to see. Skjelmose and Tejada on 5:58 and 6:30. Where, to be honest, I'm mostly looking for. So Sepp Kuss is nicely settled into the top 10, but a real hit for Nordhagen, but also for Tullet, who loses 22 positions, and we also just lost Patrick, so I'm afraid it's an F in the chat for Mr. Patrick, bro, and DNF on this podcast. You heard it here first, folks. That's a first one. But Tullet losing how much time? 20 minutes, 21 minutes today, so that's... Tullet's basically out of the picture for top 10 after today, after losing 22 minutes. So that is a bit of a bummer, I would say, for him. But their focus is going to be Sepp Kuss for that top 10 for sure. Jarno Willer, by the way, also dropped early on the climb and is now in GC on 11th place on 8:08. So about a minute 38 from the top 10 here. So he lost quite a bit of positions. Now 2nd best Belgian after De Bruyne in 8th place. Okay. That is basically the GC situation. I don't know if Patrick's back. Let's see. Can he talk? Does his mouth move? Let's take a look. He's muted.
Yeah, I've got some connection issues. Do I sound helium-induced? Do I sound okay?
You sound halfway between the two. So it might be best that I continue here for a second. Stage 7
I'll give yeah, stage 7. I'll say my thoughts.
Okay.
Pog's gonna let the breakaway win.
Pog's going to let the breakaway win, okay. 149 kilometers from Valdalba to Aramon Valdelinares. We've had that finish a few times before, if I recall correctly. It is basically an exponentially climbing stage. It's up and down throughout the entire day. Quite a bit of altitude meters for 150 kilometers. Kind of a sneaky hard stage. First climb is 12.4 kilometers, 4.4%. Tops at 50 kilometers into the stage, but then it's up and down, and the last climb is technically 9.8 kilometers, 6%, but that comes just after a short descent of a 12 kilometer, 4% climb before that. It's not a super hard climb. If UAE has a super strong team, they can win this in a GC group sprint, hypothetically, or a Pogačar attack, but I think I might follow Patrick on here, that I feel like breakaways in the cards here, especially after today. They already spent their bickies when it comes to their domestiques today, so maybe tomorrow will be for the breakaway. And if you shout breakaway, Patrick, who are you feeling?
Buitrago, Garofoli, the same guys. De Bruyne won't be allowed in. Vine, how much time Vine lose today?
Ooh, that's a very good question, and you caught me off guard, so continue naming riders before I tell you.
People that can climb. Visma have to go in because their 2 guys are out of GC, apart from Kuss. Finfisher Black, but it still finishes minutes. To 2. Vine lost 15?
Yeah.
I'm going
in
Vine.
GC. When
in doubt, pick a UAE rider, and when it's flat, pick a Brennan. So I'm going Vine.
Ooh, ay. We haven't seen anything from Valentin Parepancha in this race, so I'm worried that it might be formulated.
I think he's cooked.
I've got some guys.
Don't you think the Tour de France fucks some guys up?
Probably.
like the Tour of Vuelta double used to be the accepted double, and I was thinking about this today. Maybe the Giro Tour double's easier because the Giro is easier than the Tour, and then the Tour just cooks you because it's raced so hard.
And it's ironic because back in the day, the Giro Tour was seen as the more difficult option. It's also partially because people probably prioritize the Tour de France. So the first Grand Tour of the Tour is the more important one. Technically, well, the first... Nah, that's not correct. In the Tour of Vuelta, the first Grand Tour is the more important one. In the Giro Tour, the second one's the more important one. Is the take I'm trying to bring across. I want to see Clément Bertin in the breakaway, even though he's on 13th place in GC on 9 minutes. Omerzel in 15th place on 13 minutes. Did it from the peloton today. We didn't see break formation, so it's hard to guess whether he tried to be in the breakaway or not.
Oh, I got my pick. Where's Tejada in GC?
Tejada is 10th on 6:30.
Oh, a bit close.
Rodriguez, Christian is 11:43 on 14th, but does he have a kick? Because it might not be too selective either, eh? The break?
I like the medium mountains. There's no HC Coles before this climb. I'm going to Harder Vine combo. I'm locking into Harder. I think Pog doesn't care about the 6 minutes. He might even be happy to let Astana have the jersey like they had in the Giro for a day or two with Silva. I'm going to Harder.
My mind kind of wants to pick Armirai, but I believe Armirai will be in the breakaway maybe with someone who he will be riding for. Especially because we most likely also will be seeing someone in the breakaway for the intermediate sprint, which actually I haven't checked where it is, that intermediate sprint. By the way, Wout van Aert is now second, if I recall, in the green jersey classification. So quick switch up there. And we have basically Van Aert second, Brennan third, and Laporte fifth in that. Basically 40-50 points behind Tadej Pogačar. So this one was really important for Tadej Pogačar's potential green jersey. It's also like, if he wants to win green as a side quest in this race, he has to go for stage like this when the opportunity arises. So with that in mind, it's no surprise that he went for it. I'm still yet to lock in a pick. I kind of want to pick someone like Castrillo. I'll go with Pablo Castrillo.
That's a great shout. Him and Berardi, because it's 6%, right? But it is to altitude, so it is hard, but you got to push big absolute watts. It's not like today's climb. I think Castrillo is a nice pick. Movistar are in good shape. The team is working well. I think they're still aggressive for stages. They don't just hang around Enric every day. So yeah, I like that pick. Castrillo is a good one. But yeah, I'm going to Harder.
You're going to Harder. Okay, let's go with that. One thing, I see someone in chat saying, and I quote the entire sentence, Benji was right all along about calling only a bum. Hashtag rectification for Benji. I don't think I can take credit here. First of all, I didn't call him a bum. I just said he wouldn't win the Tour de France.
Yeah, that which is worse.
The last take I gave about Only is that podium is a lock. So it's only the last take that matters. The rest is overwritten. So if anything, I'm wrong.
Roglic just quietly, by the way. Because remember, Roglic is going to kill all these guys in the TT.
Yeah.
So if he just holds serve, he's just got to hold serve. He can bleed a bit of time here and there to one guy this day, one guy that day. As long as the guy changes. It's Enric today, could be goal tomorrow. As long as he keeps him within a minute and a half, 2 minutes, he's going to kill him in the TT. So Rock podium is looking really good right now. And most importantly, he didn't, no risk, no glory, have a puncture, bad stuff. Knock on wood, no issues on the gravel. Did anyone puncture on the gravel?
Not at the front of the race that I could tell. I don't know what happened at the back of the race, of course, but from what I could tell, no severe punctures. I saw maybe a post by Laura Meseguer before the race started that there were some like thumb pin thingies on course today, but I didn't notice much of that. So let's hope they had no consequences on the actual race. But do we consider this Felix Gall survives it again? Because to be honest,
I think
Gall
so.
was descending better, faster than Pogačar and Massa's group, and I might be overlooking a little bit, but it looks like he was flying in the descent.
I think his descending's not as bad as it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's nowhere near as bad. Like 3 years ago, he literally couldn't hold the wheel in a descent, and now it's fine. Maybe some guys don't like following the wheel and they can pick their own lines on a technical. Maybe it's the speed. Maybe the very high speed descents freak him out. Because I'd rather, if you're going to crash, let me crash on this descent. This is a good descent to crash on.
Is that what Primoz Roglic said in that Vuelta a couple of years ago?
It's a good descent to crash on. You got relatively low consequences because there's not a sheer drop off at the end, and you're going relatively low speed because of compared to other descents. This is a good descent. I'd like to crash on this one.
And I think that's basically how we'll end today's podcast. We started off with you looking like you're at an airport terminal. What's the plan? Where are you?
I am at an airport terminal. I'm about to fight the Amsterdam traffic and then get myself
a stroopwafel.
No free ads, but I go paneer tikka masala, spicy paneer tikka masala every time I come for a meeting.
Okay.
Then run afterwards.
Cool story,
that's called gut training. You won't see that in the Morton brochure, running on a paneer tikka masala double garlic naan serving. If you can do that, you can do an ultra marathon on any amount of food in your belly.
Is that Morton's next product? Question mark.
If they do an addition
flavor.
Addition tikka masala. You join cycling Vuelta España in heat training with your core sensor. So you do this stage with the core sensor in a heat suit with paneer tikka masala additions. That's we'll do an LRCP branded one. All right, thanks for listening as always. Thanks for persevering with my technical issues, and we'll see you with a recap tomorrow evening. Ciao, ciao.